You're working. Tell me a little bit about that technique and what you do with that.
Yeah, for sure. Flynn has been on me a little bit about being on top. I've kind of just been riding and not as much turning, and he's been really emphasizing turning, getting back points, and pinning. So that's what I've been trying to do.
It is, and you've been scoring a lot of points for us. Thank you, Ty.
Yes,
congrats.
sir.
All right, Jared there with Ty Waters. Again, off to a great start, healthy and back, and looking for big things in the Big 12 and nationally this year. 165, Sean Taylor for the Mountaineers. David Pento, another freshman in the lineup for Glenville State.
Well, you know, okay, so everybody, Ty Waters, great, is a fourth in the national tournament, and he just said, hey, my coach has really been on me to score more on top and pin people, right? And because that's another aspect that separates you from other people that you're going to be wrestling. If you can end a match faster, if you're the guy who wins on top and you wrestle up one period instead of having to go through 7 minutes, especially in a tournament, that's a big deal. Aside from the team points and all that kind of stuff, right? Then you get known as a pinner. Nice job by Taylor and just running him down and pitching his knees together and driving him for that takedown.
Pento appeared to be free, and as you said, Taylor just ran him down there. Right at the edge, now trying to stay in bounds.
I'll take him out.
Great pursuit.
Well, he got himself in a good spot, and then he just kept driving, and got himself a nice takedown.
Kept him in bounds and got the points. Now we're waiting for the restart. 1:07 left in the first period.
It's a little like a form tackle in football, right? I mean, you got to keep driving until he goes down to the mat, and then keep driving all the way through.
Good shot there by Pento as he countered quickly.
Looking for that cradle. Taylor does a nice job of separating that and turning, facing him, and getting his leg back.
Taylor heavy on that elbow from that front headlock from Pento, able to get a stalemate.
Well, and that's what happens when you're in that front headlock. You get your elbow too deep. I mean, that's what everybody's looking for, right? Grab your elbow and yank it down so that you can't do things with leverage and try to be able to turn the corner very well. And so when you're doing the front headlock, you got to try to keep your elbow out as much as you possibly can.
Pento finished that sequence there blind. He had his strap down come over his eyes, and the whistle allowed him to readjust that and get the headgear back in place.
It's funny because when you're actually in those situations, seeing really isn't that valuable. I mean, it's a lot of feel, and that's what you're looking at for the most part. So, for example, if you think that, even in a lot of takedown stuff, if you think that I have to see it before I do it, it's too late, especially at this level, right? I have to have a feel that something's going to be where it is based on body movements and things along those lines, pressures, angles. Otherwise, you're not going to score.
First period, 3-1 lead for Sean Taylor, the only offensive points of that first period. Again, pursuit along the boundary there, and he got that takedown.
Well, and let's face it, as good as Sean Taylor was coming out of high school, he was going to spend last year behind Peyton Hall, right? I mean, so it doesn't really matter. But I hope one thing that he learned from all that is again about having offense, is about being attack-oriented, being in good position and being able to attack. And that separates you, especially at this level. Right now, he's been letting Pento be on the attack the last couple of the times. He's done a nice job of fighting things off.
He's got that shin whizzer. Pento went to limp arm, but Taylor's doing a nice job that every time you could see it in the escape that he gave up, and then also his escape, he's in on a quick shot here. Leg between, finish it as he cuts back. He has not taken his hands off of Pento barely at all this match. He is completely in his face. Whenever he cut out to get an escape, his hands were immediately back on. Whenever he gave up an escape, he never kept his hands off of him. Just like Kyle, you're saying, it's that relentless pursuit that we're seeing all match.
Under a minute to go here in the second. Couple of takedowns for Sean Taylor, one in the first period, one here in the second. And now doing some work on top.
Taylor going back to what we just talked about with Ty Waters. This is a very common theme that we're seeing out of this West Virginia team, seen it in the duels already this year. That one-on-one that they're working the pop arm in and all of the offense that you can create off of that. It's an uncomfortable position for that bottom wrestler. I mean, whenever your arm is bent backwards, like tied to your back with all of that pressure on, that is really, really tough stuff from top.
Taylor's built the ride time up to where it's a factor as we head for the third period.
This is just a nice job of after coming out of this shot that Pento had just taken and doing a nice high crotch and really staying in good position, yanking things, trying to keep him off balance, and eventually sits him down and gets that 3-point takedown.
So Taylor has the only offensive points of this match here. Again, a takedown in each of the first two periods. Try and finish strong. Mountaineers up 22-0 on Glenville State. Still to come, matchups with Princeton, who, as we speak, Princeton beating Appalachian State 15-3. Mountaineers will wrestle both Princeton and Appalachian State this afternoon.
So there's a good chance Pento gets warned for stalling, even though he is the one behind. Why? Because Taylor's the one taking Matt up, and every time there's a fake, Pento is the one kind of sliding backwards most of the time. Although they very rarely call a neutral position, call the guy who's behind for stalling. Right now he's got double unders.
Glenville been very effective on their feet with those underhooks in the underhook series. You know, that's tough to wrestle, you know, especially when Sean Taylor, it looks like, you know, a guy who's scoring from space a lot. You know, those underhooks, he then adjusts and gets a takedown from the inside tie. But there it is again. He sits him right back immediately to get the takedown.
He's going to let him up and go after him again.
Yeah, try to score again. One in the first, one in the second, one in the third for Taylor. And defended the shot well, right back in an offensive position. And there's the fourth takedown.
Just a nice job, and now cranking it up a little bit, showing some offense, getting a little better feel for being out on the mat somewhat. You know, again, spent a whole last year not really wrestling much, right? And so got an opportunity to get back in the flow of things. Wrestling in the room is one thing, but going out and wrestling live in these matches is something different.
Sean Taylor victorious here at NCAA qualifier, back as a redshirt freshman. And finished strong last year, won his last 5 regular season matchups last year. Conley going to work on Hayden Pummel.
Well, it was a shame. He was wrestling really well and then hurt his knee in that last match against Arizona State that we watched here. And that he finished that match at all, comes out with a win in that, was, I mean, that's
incredible.
Tough.
Yeah.
That's some toughness right there. But obviously, you know, coming back from that injury, that's where they've got that big brace on his knee. But he's been wrestling pretty well so far in the early season.
Conley victorious by Tech Fall in the win over American. Beat Hunter Homan of American. And his opponent here, Pummel, a Mountain East Conference champ from 2025 and a regional champ at the Division II level. Unfortunately, he got hurt himself in the opening round of the Division II NCAA tournament, was ranked number 1 in his weight class. So he's battling back from an injury himself.
You know, that's just one of the things that happens in the sport, right? I mean, you're wrestling really well, and all of a sudden you twist or turn a certain way, and you hear a pop or something along those lines, and that's never good. And hopefully you have some eligibility left where you can come back from that.
Well, again, both these individuals do. Conley back as a redshirt junior for this Mountaineer team. Hayden Pummel, a senior, and ranked 8th in the country at 174 pounds at the Division II level.
Conley really trying to make him carry his weight, really trying to pull on that head a lot. And he goes underneath for the shot, coming around the corner.
That was a beautiful fake by Conley there. Fakes the high crotch, gets into the sweep now. Pummel in with a deep shin whizzer, but Conley looking to shelf that. Gets that left hand on that ankle. As you see, he's trying to elevate it now. Pummel keeping his base, doing the splits, trying to defend. Conley just continuing to work up.
Well, good. There's an opportunity to go behind, limps arms it. Nice job finishing. Again, patience, continue the pressure, continue moving around the corner. If you don't panic there, you're in a pretty good spot. But some people just they panic, and that's what the defensive guy is looking for. Just give me a little space, give me a little wiggle room so I can get the heck out of this thing and maybe turn it into points for myself.
He had such great hand position on that sweep shot too. He was able to keep the pressure in. But like I said, with that left hand on that ankle, if you elevate that ankle, that defender is not able to bend that knee and really give you anything much off of it. Conley trying to hold on.
There's the time. Well, he almost got a little high there as the period was ending. And what's on, so on this mat, there's no buzzer, right? So you have to keep looking over to see and the timing of that kind of stuff. But he almost gave up a minimally an escape, maybe a reversal.
Good look there at Dylan Cottrell. We mentioned he was West Virginia's first Big 12 champion wrestler a few years ago, and he's put his focus on building this Glenville State program into a Division II powerhouse, and they've done so. Mountain East Conference, an excellent Division II wrestling league, and they've made a name for themselves nationally the last few years, winning a super regional last season.
I mean, Coach Cottrell, 3 in a row Mountain East Conference Coach of the Year honors, back-to-back conference championships for his team, just really building something special. And, you know, talking to the other coaches that are here today, you know, you got to respect him for that, you know, just the continuous effort that he's been able to put into this program, the time and the work that goes into it. And talking with him, one of the big things is he's been able to build a brand for Glenville State. And, you know, one thing that I brought up earlier to him in the week doing an interview with him was they had their second annual golf outing, raising almost $30,000 for a Division II wrestling program. That's something that's unheard of. That's amazing to get $30,000 towards this program, just to, you know, example of the community and the brand that he's built at Glenville.
Yeah, Cottrell talking about himself going out and knocking on doors of businesses, raising that money. So, hey, that's life at the Division II level.
That it is, right?
But again, give him credit, a singular focus of building the brand and building the program. We've got another offensive score for Brody Conley.
What I'm really impressed with Conley in this particular match, here's going to get him on his back, and there's going to be a fall. I'm really impressed with the position that he was in, and it looks like Pummel's hurt. I don't know if his grabbing his hamstring back there or his glute. That's not a good thing. There should be maybe a trainer might go out and check him.
Trainer's
That's probably a good idea.
Head out there. Brody Conley, the fall at the 25-second mark here of the second period. And West Virginia stretches that lead out. Well, the concern with Hayden Pummel.
Right. So here's the shot. He does a nice job of getting in and cracking him down, and then just stays in really good position. This is the part I've been impressed with. And then he drives through it, but I think somewhere right in here is when he lifts that leg up and drives it towards him, and you see Pummel not really put up much of a fight at that point in time. So he's certainly feeling it there.
Conley the winner. And a glad hand there for Dylan Cottrell, and Pummel's